going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I want to go over my ban list predictions for the upcoming ban list. That is no sooner than October 1st, so probably November 7th or something like that, but hopefully we get it real quick. We're kind of assuming next week sometime around there, and I haven't really done any ban list videos on this channel. I have tried, but I uploaded and I recorded one, was about to upload it, and the ban list actually came out that day, which was really unfortunate, so hopefully that doesn't happen with this one and I can actually upload it. But ban list predictions are fun. Everyone seems to like them. Of course, when you get flooded with them, they can be kind of annoying. But yeah, I'm going to give mine off. And yeah, I'm going to try to make it as accurate as possible. Throw some wants and some spicy stuff on there, but I'm not going to be adding every card I want to be hit because then the list would get a little crazy. So it's going to be trying to make an unbiased prediction here while also throwing in some spice that I'd like to see. So without further ado, let's get into the bans. So starting off with the first card banned, and this is the one that I feel needs to go the most. If this was the only thing hit on the list, I would be fine with the list and it'd be satisfactory, bare minimum. This card I feel has to go. It's on almost everyone's list, but not everyone's for sure, and that is part of the Dragoon package. Now, my personal pick is Verte Anaconda, mostly because I personally feel like Dark Magician should still get to play Dragoon. I feel like if any deck is allowed to play it, it should be Dark Magician. The downside with Verte is, of course, the Guru deck can still play 3 Red Eyes Fusion and run Dragoon and still be annoying, but Guru doesn't have that large of a player base backing it right now. It could afterwards, but I doubt it. I also feel Verte is just the most like punishing. Like you can hand trap your opponent and then they make Verte after you use your resources and then bam, Dragoon, and they just win off of that. It's super annoying. Any 2 effect monsters makes one of the best boss monsters ever created. So I feel like Verte is a reasonable hit here. I don't think hitting Red Eyes Fusion is the way, because I feel like that's, I mean, it deals with the problem, but it feels so unnecessary to the Red Eyes players. I know, like, big meme, the 12 Red Eyes players, but someone out there is a Red Eyes player, and they don't really deserve to get hit for Dragoon. So I feel like Verte is just the way to go personally. It does hurt Phoenix Enforcer coming out, which I feel like Konami wants Verte around for Phoenix Enforcer, but if I'm going to pick one of the 3, my pick personally is to ban Verte Anaconda. Alright, next on this list is one of my least favorite cards, but people will kind of think, like people from my locals will think it's one of my favorite, just because it seems to like my hands. We're going to ban Imperial Order, and that is because Imperial Order is an unfair Vanity's Emptiness-esque card. By comparing it to Vanity's Emptiness, I mean you set up your board and you activate it on your opponent's turn, and it's almost just always GG. Like, it is such a powerful floodgate. It is such a nuisance to deal with, and I just kind of want it gone from the game. Do I think it will be banned? It's tough. Konami takes forever banning some floodgates, but I'm hoping for a ban here. And last up for cards I want to see banned that are currently at 3, I'm going to put Eva on the list. So there's a couple of ways I think you can hit Drytron, and that will be banning Eva or banning Ben 10. I think they both sort of hinder the deck. I feel like Ben 10's actually a harder hit because if you ban Ben 10, you already don't really want to play Eva, and then Eva can live for agents. But I feel like Konami doesn't want to kill Drytron, which I feel like Ben 10 forces them to play Megalith, which is quite a bit worse. I could be wrong there. But yeah, I feel like Eva might be the better way to go personally. I really dislike Eva because what Eva essentially does is even if you Dark Ruler their board, they still have like 2 Herald of the Orange Light in hand. And that's 2 interrupts through a Dark Ruler, which is kind of annoying. And it's just so free. It recycles resources. It searches a play-in Diviner. And it can start really weird hands by being a level 1 to make Fafnir. I don't know, I feel like Eva's super strong and just really degenerate, especially because of Beatrice's assistance. I don't think putting it to 1 does enough, which is why I'm putting it banned. However, I feel like you can go Ben 10 or Eva here. They both work. I want to hit to Drytron because it's the only FTK in the room, essentially. When it resolves its board, it feels so... It's so annoying to play against. Of all the decks, even though Drytron might not be the best, it is definitely the most frustrating to play against just because of what their first turn can do and how it forces you essentially to open go second cards or lose. Alright, now I'm going to throw in some of my wants here, and essentially the spice I was talking about earlier. I want to ban Windup Hunter, and this is going to be necessary for a card I'm bringing back. Most of you already know, however I'll leave that for when we actually get to it. Windup Hunter is a very old card, so if you're unfamiliar with her, essentially you can tribute a Windup monster to discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. there are loops with this card, that's all I'm going to say. So if we ban it, something else on the list can come back, and that is the whole goal here. So Windup Hunter banned. So I want to give an honorable mention here because I absolutely despise this card. However, I don't think Konami is going to do it as much as I want them to. I want Called by the Grave banned. I don't think it's happening. That's why it's going to be an honorable mention. But I don't like cards that punish what is supposed to deter degenerate plays. Hand traps are there to deter things like full-blown massive combo end with 50 negates, and when you run things like Called By, it sort of negates the idea of a counter. I don't like cards like Called by the Grave or Cross Out Designator because I feel they just enable more stupidity and make the game more variable. I feel like hand traps were made to counter stupidity, and the stupidity when it goes off is supposed to establish a board. And I feel like if you get stopped by hand traps, your play shouldn't be stopping those hand traps. It should be having your own interrupts for your opponent's turn. Either setting trap cards, I know, like, that's a crazy idea, setting trap cards to stop your opponent's play, or having your own hand traps. Like, I don't like cards like Designator, Called By, that it's really hard to prepare for, like, play around, and just so much more variability. So I would ban Called by the Grave, but I personally don't think it's going to happen. Alright, so first up for the limits, it's going to be super easy. Tanky, I think it needs to go to 1. It is a very powerful Rhoda-esque searcher that is pushing Tri-Brigade to be like one of the best decks right now. I don't think Tanky to 1 is enough for Tri-Brigade. It might be the only thing they do to touch it, but I would like to see more. But Tanky, #1 priority on my list because it's just a lot of consistency. Essentially, we're moving them down to like 4 fractals, which is pretty nice. However, if they decide to hit more than just Tanky, I would like to see either Revolt or Shureg at 1. Personally, I'm going to choose Revolt because it's a very powerful card. Revolt is absolutely bonker. Resets your engines, gets a banish, gets a search, maybe even a mill. It's just a crazy form of searchable interruption that is honestly like a +3 or 4. I think the card is busted, and if it goes to 1, they get it once, and it's much harder to hard open it, which means they might have to go the Bear Brum route every time. But yeah, I would like to see Revolt at 1, and if not Revolt, then Shureg. Alright, next up on the list is I want either Meltdown or Windup to 1, or both. I mean, it seems like a lot of anger towards Shaddoll for no reason when they're not actually being super meta dominant right now, but they have been in the past. I'm so tired of normal summon Alistair. I cannot tell you how tired I am of normal summon Alistair 6 turns in a row. And Winda's very broken. I feel like Winda at 1 stops like removing Winda for a second Winda with either El Shaddoll or Schism, and it just reduces the amount of times they can summon it if it's outed. But Meltdown to 1, honestly, if my opponent could have 5 Alistairs and Meltdown be at 1, I'd be fine. I'm okay with my opponent having 6 Alistairs. Honestly, I think Meltdown's just a broken card. I really don't like that can't respond effect. It can be so just... oh, I don't even have a word for it. It just really bothers me. So if Meltdown went to 1, I'd be pretty happy, but Konami has proven they really don't want to hit Alistair, so who knows what will happen there. Alright, next up for things going to 1, I have Windup, Carrier, Zen Mighty. So this is something I'm bringing back that's been banned for probably 6 years, 7 years. I feel like it's been forever since this card's been banned. And I feel like Konami's just forgotten about it. I don't know. I feel like it could come back if Hunter's banned. And yeah, I'd really like Windups to be playable again in some capacity, maybe tier 2, tier 3. Just, I want Zen Mighty back, and I'm putting it at 1 to test the waters. I'm not sure putting it at 3 would do anything, but just 1 to test the waters, and I absolutely love Zen Mighty. Of course, back in 2012, playing the format, I despised Windups as a deck, but as time goes on, it's a very different time. I kind of want to play Windups. So I would love to see Zen Mighty come off the list and back to 1. And then this next one on the list is going to be a little bit, you know, some people are going to be scared, but honestly, I think it's fine. I want every Dragon Ruler card to 1. That means all the babies and all the big dragons. You could go with bring all the big dragons back and ban all the babies, or you can keep it how it is, which is just, you know, the Dragon Rulers aren't here. But if we're going to bring them back, I don't know if I want to just swap the babies for the big rulers. It's 2021. It's about time to, you know, maybe bring them up off the list. I think if they're all at 3, it's way too good because then just Dragon Spam decks is... So we're not like clearing cards off the ban list. I just feel like it would be better if they're all at 1. Honestly, I feel like Tidal's probably the biggest problem. I feel like Blaster's super easy to bring back, to be honest. A lot of people are afraid of Redox. I just don't think there are many Earth decks right now that can really take advantage of Redox. I play Earth Machine and I wouldn't even run it in that, so I don't know, maybe I would, but it just doesn't seem that great on paper to me. But yeah, honestly, Tidal's the scariest because I feel like Mermail with one stream and one Tidal in their deck get a lot more consistent and can do a lot more. But are we really afraid of Mermail being slightly better? Like, Mermail is a pretty strong tier 2 deck. 2 or 2.5, whatever you want to call it, rogue. But yeah, Tidal could boost it to a crazy status. But I want to see the Dragon Rulers all back at 1. I think it's time. Some honorable mentions that I've seen other people do. I'm not hitting Prank Kids because I don't think Konami's going to hit Prank Kids. Personally, I want Prank Kids hit, but I'm not going to put Doodle Doo or Meow Moo on this list. I don't think they're going. It'd be a nice surprise, but I feel like it's really hard to hit Prank Kids, and almost no hit besides banning something does anything. So I feel like Prank Kids are going off scotch-free this event. Annoying, but I think them and actually Dragon Link as well will be unscathed. And the next thing I'm not putting to 1 is, I'm going to be honest, I had a thought here. I've been thinking about it for about 20 seconds, which y'all didn't see because I edited it. I didn't write this down, so I don't know what card I was going to talk about. There's another card I was not going to put at 1, but since I'm not doing it anyway, it's irrelevant. Let's just go to the semi-limits. Alright guys, here is the coveted semi-limited list. So for this list, on to what I'm unbanning. Alright, for unbans, gonna make it super short and sweet because I don't really feel like this is ever the most exciting part of the list unless you are bringing back something crazy, which if I was, I probably would have prefaced this in a lot bigger of a way. So just starting off with what's going to 3, it's not Max C. I am not a biggest fan, I'm not a Max C fan at all. All of my friends at locals, they're definitely team Max C. Personally, I'm not, it's just, I don't want it. So, yeah, Max C's not coming to 3 in my list, but hey, the community's always been 50-50 split on it, so, you know, it could happen one day. If it's going to come back, this is definitely the time. Bugs can search it and get a huge amount of support for Max C being back, and cross out Designators out. So if they move Called By to 3, we might see Max C at 3. If it's going to happen on any list, it's this list. Alright, but for cards I'm actually moving to 3, we're going to have the Double Iris Magician because I feel like everyone sort of thinks this is fine. And then I'm also going to put the Draco Slayer card everyone puts on their list. The guy's green. I don't know his name, but he's going to be on this list. That's more of a pick because I've seen everyone do that, and if everyone agrees, maybe he can come off the list. But yeah, there's some interesting things I've seen from other people's list. I'm not sure I want to bring to 3. Infernity Archfiend is one I've seen several people talking about. I play Infernities. If you watch this channel consistently, you'll know I play Infernities. Archfiend to 3 is scary because the deck loses to hand traps. It's undeniable. They play outs to hand traps, and they can play around it in their really good hands, but it's weak to hand traps. However, when you put Archfiend to 3, the deck becomes much more consistent and can do things it couldn't do before, and that's just not something I want in the game. I don't want to lose to a 12-minute turn 1 because I didn't open a go second card versus literally go first, set up a board, win the game. Like, it's really good. So yeah, it's not something I really want to see. However, you know, it could. But yeah, that's going to be it for my ban list predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's not something I do all the time, and you know, it's not something everyone wants to watch, but it is fun for being around ban list season, just seeing what everyone thinks and seeing who gets closest to being right. And yeah, so this has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye, YouTube.